Greetings YouTube, this is Toy Customizer Wake Angel 2001, bringing the second part of my payback commission to PGR ME7, the one who sent me the RBX D05 Mega Robo figure. This one is Cosmo the Seedrian from the Metarex saga of Sonic X. So even though Cosmo's character design was based on Lumina Flowlight from Sonic Shuffle, it's amazing how much she looks like Amy Rose. In fact, an Amy Rose figure, pretty much you cut off the ears and, there it is. I filled in the eyes with a little bit of clay to make it all a smooth face. That way she wouldn't have a muzzle anymore. And I made the part in the middle of her hair and the flower pigtails, I want to call them. And once painted up, you have Cosmo. There is just a little bit of a seam where I tried to make it as smooth as possible to the point where my finger could no longer feel the ridge, but I can still see the shadow of where her muzzle used to be. I don't know how to get rid of that. Cosmo's body is Amy Rose's with Sonic's legs. As you can see with Sonic's feet, I used my Dremel to sand away the sock cuffs, and then I also sanded away the buckle, and then smoothed it out with some clay to give it a better transition. I also cut off the dress and tail, of course, because Cosmo wears a different dress. She wears this dress. It's made out of hanging flower petals. No, this dress is kind of hard to make because I had to make each petal individually and then arrange them around her body. It's a dress. It's a very pretty dress. Let's move on. With how complicated that dress is, the arms are comparatively much simpler. The only fabrication is just a little bit more sleeve around where the cuff goes. And really, Amy already has those little rings, and her hands are just paint them so they don't look like they're gloves anymore, and there you go, Cosmo. Oh hey, Cosmo continues the great tradition of non-video game female characters who don't have gloves. Not necessarily female characters, just characters not introduced in the video games are allowed to not wear gloves. Isn't that interesting? I like Cosmo, I really do. Of all the characters that were introduced to us in the Sonic X anime, she's really by far the best. Although this is the same TV series that introduced us to Chris Thorndike, so it's not like she had much competition. But really, among all the cartoon characters that were introduced to us, like Sonic Underground and the OVA and the Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog cartoon, I think she's pretty good. I think she's better than most of the characters introduced in those series. Not the Sad AM cartoon. The Sad AM cartoon has some of the best characters ever. Well, I've been talking through the credits here. So, let's switch to live video for a bit so you can see the old Cosmo. Alright, so here's a quick side-by-side comparison of my old Cosmo on the left and my new Cosmo on the right. Let's see, what can I say? The old one was actually one of my earlier works. You can't tell, but under her skirt, she's like completely chopped up. She's held together there with hot glue. I cut the legs short. They don't have hip joints anymore. So she's actually built a lot more like classic Amy Rose. Where there's no actual hip articulation. Her legs are just built in under that dress. This new one still has hip articulation. You can move her legs, although it's kind of hard to because the skirt's in the way. That's why I felt that it wasn't even really necessary. And you may be noticing that the new one is darker and shinier. That's because she uses Testor's acrylics. This one used old Anita's acrylics. And I tried to repair it, but my old one does have some cracks forming, especially in the forehead. That's because it used the old Bacon Flex polymer clay. And this new one uses Super Sculpey, which is much more durable and takes better to paint. This one has a slight tackiness that attracts dust. I don't think I'll be having a problem with this new one. And the last difference, I guess, is in the feet. The old one has feet completely scratch built, and then the legs are stuck into them, while these are Sonic's feet, just they've been sanded down and then built back around. And yeah, I think I got the symmetry of her dress a little bit better on the new one. I mean, the way her arms hang, that wrist kind of throws off your sense of symmetry, but you just have to trust me that the new version's dress is much rounder, and you know, she just all around looks a little prettier. Although, you know, for original work, that wasn't too bad. So that's Cosmo the Seedrian from early Wake Angel 2001 and current Wake Angel 2001. Hopefully, I'll be able to make more Cosmos and other Amy-based customs in the future, because November's coming, and that's when the new wave is supposed to hit, which includes a new Amy figure. So, yeah, hopefully we'll get one of those. And you know what? Classic Amy isn't really any shorter than Amy. It's just, I just noticed this, but really the only change is her proportions. Her head is a little bigger proportion to her body, but in terms of height, she's almost exactly the same as her modern counterpart. Isn't that kind of funny?